Okay, so hello and assalamu alaikum. Today we have here IGCSE Chemistry, Paper 1 core, Paper 1 2, February March 2022. Total time for which is 45 minutes and 40 marks for 40 questions, 1 mark each. So, question 1. Which change of state is an exothermic process? Exothermic means releasing energy. Releasing energy. So, out of these four, condensation. In condensation, the gas changes into liquid, so they lose their energy, so not the correct option. In evaporation, the state is changed from liquid to gas, so they actually absorb energy, and then so they absorb energy. So this is endothermic. So we had exothermic in the answer, so the option A is correct because I told you they lose energy. So losing energy means releasing energy. So that's why the reaction is exothermic, the physical reaction. In melting also the particles absorb energy and same is in sublimation. Next question, in which state does 1 dm cube of methane contain the most particles? So the answer will be which is the most dense. The most dense will have the most particles in 1 unit volume. Most dense means the state which has particles most close together, because then more particles will be needed to fill this 1 dm cube space if this is supposed to be 1 dm cube. So more particles will be needed if it is a substance having particles close to each other. But if it is a substance having particles far apart, like a gas, whether the gas at 100 degree or at room temperature, fewer particles will be required to fill up the entire volume. So in solid, the particles are closest together. So answer is D. Which dye on the chromatogram is a pure substance? So this means it should not have more than one spot or more than one solute. So all of these have more than one solutes. So this A is the correct option. Which piece of apparatus is used to measure exactly 5 cm cube of a liquid? So you can't use a pipette because pipette has fixed volumes of 25, 50, and it cannot measure anything above or below that. And for measuring cylinder, the precision is not up to 2 decimal places, and same is for beaker. So the correct answer is burette because burette has readings in this way. If this is 0, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1. So each is 0.1. So divide this by 2, we have 0.05, 2 decimal places. This is the way you calculate the smallest an instrument can measure. In a measuring cylinder, it is 1, 2, so not correct. Next, fermentation of sugar produces a mixture of ethanol solution and solid yeast. How is the solid yeast removed from the mixture? So the solid yeast is insoluble, which is why filtration takes place because distillation is used to get the water from a solution, and crystallization is to obtain a soluble salt. Fractional distillation is done according to boiling points and is required and is done when separating two or more liquids. Next, matter exists as elements, compounds, and mixtures. Which row identifies an element, a compound, and a mixture? Element, calcium is an element. Calcium is an element again. Sodium chloride is a compound. So B and D are incorrect. All these are compounds. And as for mixture, sodium chloride is a compound, as we decided over here. It is a compound. Na and Cl react chemically. Air is a mixture, true, but we have brass over here, so this is incorrect already. Next, brass is a mixture because it is an alloy. Alloy is a mixture of an element with another. Oh, sorry, alloy is a mixture of a metal with another element. So option C is correct. Potassium carbonate also is a compound. Next, which pair of statements about diamond and graphite is correct? Diamond and graphite are both pure carbon. They're both macromolecules. Seems to be correct. They're both allotropes of carbon. Diamond and graphite can both be used as electrodes. No, diamond does not conduct electricity. Diamond has covalent bonds. Yes, graphite has ionic bonds. No, it has covalent bonds. Diamond is hard. Yes, graphite is soft with a low melting point. No, it has the same melting point about diamond. An isotope of chromium is represented by this, which statement about an atom of this isotope of chromium is correct. So this is the mass number, this is the proton number. Mass number is the sum of the protons and the number of neutrons, and the proton number equals to the number of electrons in a neutral atom. So it contains 24 electrons. This is correct because 24 protons mean that it contains 24 electrons too. Next, sodium is in group 1 of the periodic table and chlorine is in group 7, which row describes what happens when sodium bonds ionically with chlorine. So sodium is in group 1, so it should have a charge of +1 because it needs to lose one outer shell electron to become a stable and have a stable electronic configuration. Cl is in group 7, so it should need one electron. It should have to gain one electron to have 8 outer shell electrons because it has 7 outer shell electrons and this has only one outer shell electron. So the charges will cross over and cancel out, and NaCl will be the formula. Na is a metal and is group 1, so it loses the electron and this gains the electron. So the option D is correct. Lose an electron, yes. Becomes plus, yes. Gains an electron, yes. Cl minus, yes. In option C, the ions are incorrect. All metals have a positive charge. Cesium fluoride is an ionic compound. Which statements about cesium fluorides are correct? Ionic compound and it conducts electricity when solid. No, it does not have mobile ions or electrons in solid state. It only conducts electricity in aqueous or molten state. It has a high melting point. True, it is soluble in water. Yes. It is highly volatile. Volatility is the or volatile being volatile means it can easily turn into a gas. So that is not correct because it has a high boiling point, so it takes a lot of temperature and energy to become a gas. So 2 and 3, which means option C is correct. Next, the structure of a molecule of a compound is shown. The key is given. This is carbon, this is hydrogen, and this is oxygen. So we have 1, 2, 3 carbons. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So C3H8O. Option B is correct. Next, 12C. So 12. Calcium carbonate reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce carbon dioxide. The equation for the reaction is shown, the relative formula mass. So we are given the MR. 10 gram of calcium carbonate is reacted with an excess of dilute hydrochloric acid, which mass of carbon dioxide is produced. So this is our known quantity and this is our unknown. So we first calculate the moles of the known quantity, which will be calculated 10 over 100. The formula mass in grams over mr, so the answer will be 0.1. Next, we take the mole ratio, so the ratio is 1 is to 1, so the number of moles of carbon dioxide will also be 0.1. Now we need to have the mass of carbon dioxide again, moles equals to mass in grams over the mr, so mass in gram will be number of moles multiplied by the mr of carbon dioxide will be 12 plus 32 because oxygen has 16. So this will be 44. So two oxygens, so 32. So 0.1 times 44, which will be 4.4. So option C is correct. Next, molten sodium chloride and a concentrated aqueous sodium chloride are electrolyzed using platinum electrodes. What are the products at the negative electrode, which is the cathode in each electrolysis? So we have with molten sodium chloride we have only one cation which will be deposited, and we have in aqueous sodium chloride we have H plus and Na plus. In the reactivity series, Na plus is very high above and H plus is down below. So H plus is given the preference to discharge and to deposit. So in aqueous sodium chloride we have hydrogen and in molten sodium chloride we have sodium. So option C is correct. Next, an object is electroplated with silver using an aqueous silver salt as the electrolyte, which row is correct. The object to be electroplated is which electrode and the electrode is made from what? So the electrode should be made from the other electrode is made from what? Okay, so we have it like this: one electrode, second electrode, power supply. If this is the power supply, so this is the positive, this is the negative. So this is the positive electrode, this is the negative electrode. From even the above question, we know that the negative electrode is the cathode. So given the name, cathode is where the cation comes. So, but so the solution contains Ag plus and H plus. So H plus won't discharge because Ag plus is very low below, down below. So Ag plus will have to be discharged over here. It will deposit over here. Now, when Ag plus will be all of silver will be deposited on the cathode. So with this means that basically silver is being deposited on the cathode. And what did we need to electroplate? We needed to electroplate silver. So the object should be placed here so that silver can go over here. Now, this is the anode. This is made of silver. So we have option C and D correct, A and B are wrong because the object to be electroplated is should be at the cathode because that's where silver deposits. So what happens is to maintain the concentration of Ag plus in the solution, this silver then dissolves in the solution, in the yes, in the solution. So this which is why we have to have this made of silver itself. This is made of silver, not carbon because carbon is inert. It won't participate in the reaction. So D is the correct answer. Next. Which row describes the changes that occur in an endothermic reaction? They absorb energy, so the reaction, the temperature decreases because energy is absorbed. So energy given out wrong, energy taken in is correct, and the temperature is decreased. Next, which statement about fuels is correct? Heat energy is only produced by burning fuels. No, there are other sources of energy. Hydrogen is used as a fuel, although it is difficult to store. This is true, and this is also true. Next, methane is a good fuel because it produces only water. No, it also produces carbon dioxide. Uranium is not burned in air to produce energy. A sequence of changes in the uranium is the energy from uranium is gained through the radioactive reactions, not burned in air. A sequence of changing involving sulfur is shown, which row describes the changes. So from here, the only change is solid to liquid, and the sulfur chemically does not change in anything. So this is a physical change. Only the state is changing. Solid to liquid, which means melting. So physical, chemical, no change, no chemical change in change one. Change two is the change in state is also taking place, but that is taking place because of the chemical change. The state change of state over here is because of this chemical change. Okay, so this is a chemical change indeed. This at first glance might seem physical, but this change of state is taking place because of the chemical change. For example, if hydrogen reacts with oxygen, what are these two? These two are gases. But what is produced? Water. What is this? Liquid. So would you call this a physical change? No, this is chemical because they react chemically to form a completely new substance, which is a liquid itself. So this is a chemical change. So option C is correct. Magnesium is added to dilute hydrochloric acid. 25 cm cube of gas is given off in the first 30 seconds of the reaction. The experiment is repeated at a lower temperature. All other reaction conditions are the same. Which volume of gas is produced in the first 30 seconds of this reaction? So at a lower temperature means low rate of reaction, lower rate, lower rate. So the gas given off will be lesser than 25. So all these are equal or higher than 25. So option A is correct because the volume of gas given off will determine the rate of reaction in a given time. The given time is the first 30 seconds. The equation for the reaction between magnesium and copper 2 oxide is shown, which substance is oxidized. So over here, magnesium was alone and it has an oxidation state of 0. Over here, it is with oxygen and it has an oxidation state of +2 because oxygen always has -2. So to make the overall oxidation state 0, magnesium is +2. So magnesium has oxidized. Similarly, you can also see that just by looking at it, that magnesium has gained an oxygen atom. So gaining an oxygen atom is always oxidation. Next, methyl orange is added to dilute hydrochloric acid and to aqueous sodium hydroxide. Which what is the color of the methyl orange in each solution? So you can find this in your syllabus notes for qualitative analysis. And this is just pure memorization. Color in dilute, it is red. So option A and D are incorrect. Color in aqueous sodium hydroxide, it is yellow. So option B is correct. Next, compound X is dissolved in water and two separate samples of of the solution are tested. The results are shown. Add aqueous sodium hydroxide. So this is the test for cations. What happens is a white precipitate is formed, okay, which is insoluble in X. So this might be, and this is not zinc. This is definite. This is not zinc because zinc is soluble in X. This can be the white precipitate is formed, so it can be calcium, barium, and aluminum, or not aluminum. Aluminum is soluble in in excess sodium hydroxide. So this is we have in the options. What do we have in the options? We have either zinc or Ca, calcium. So we know that it is not zinc because zinc is soluble in excess and calcium is insoluble. Next, acidify with dilute nitric acid and add aqueous silver nitrate. A yellow precipitate form. Yellow precipitate is formed when iodide is present. Chloride has a white PPT. And bromine, if this was bromide, bromide has a cream PPT. So option B is correct. Next, which statement about the periodic table is correct? Elements with the highest atomic number in each period are metallic. This is completely opposite. Lowest, the metals are over here in group 1 till 3. So lowest atomic numbers. Element with the lowest group numbers are non-metals. Again, incorrect. Lowest group numbers are metals. Element with similar chemical properties are placed in groups. This is correct because this is the reason why they're in the same group, as they have the same outer shell electrons and the same similar chemical properties. Elements with similar physical properties are placed in periods. There is no evidence to suggest this. Part of the periodic table is shown which element is a soft solid that reacts violently with cold water. So soft should ring a bell of group 1 and violently with cold water. So this is very reactive, very reactive. Very reactive, top of the reactivity series. So it should be a group 1 element. Can't be C because C is a transition element which are hard and not that reactive. Next, three properties of element X are listed, so even the first should be enough to select the answer. Full outer shell electrons means it has eight outer shell electrons, so it should be in group 8, which is option C. It is unreactive because it has a has a full outer shell electron. It is monatomic. This is a property of the noble gases, group 8. Next, some properties of the elements in group 7 of the periodic table are shown. Which statement is correct? Bromine is a brown solid. It is not a solid because at -7 it turned from solid to liquid at -7. And till it reaches its boiling point, it will remain a liquid. So it is a liquid at room temperature. Fluorine is a pale yellow gas. This is true at room temperature because at -220 it became a liquid, and up until the boiling point, which is below the room temperature, it became a gas. And after this, it will stay a gas even if we heat it to 100 degrees. So the room temperature, at room temperature, it is still a gas. Iodine is black, not brown. Statine is not a liquid, it is a solid, and similarly, iodine is also a solid. Next, which process is used to obtain the metal calcium from its ore? Electrolysis is the correct answer because it is reactive. Or no, no, no. Oh, yes, electrolysis because it is very reactive. So it is not easily separated. The elements at the top of the reactivity series are till magnesium are separated through electrolysis, others with these methods. Next, which row links the property of a metal to its use? So the property should be correct and the use should be linked. So high density, it is a property, but it's not linked with this. Aircraft bodies require low density. So wrong. High reactivity, food containers, no link. Good electrical conductor, cooking pan, no link. Ductile means can be made into wire. So yes, electrical wiring. Next, the table gives some properties of an element. Which other property does this element have? So the property is a high melting point. It is gray, so it should be a metal. It has a colored compound. So colored compounds are made by transition elements. So, and it conducts electricity, so it is a metal, it has a high density, so it's a transition element. So it is not brittle, it does not form an acetic oxide. Acetic oxide are formed by non-metals. Highly reactive with water, it is not that reactive because it is not in group 1 or 2. Acts as a catalyst, this is true. This is a property of transition elements. A metal reacts vigorously with cold water, so it should be very reactive. It is above hydrogen in the reactivity series, definitely. It is below magnesium, no. Magnesium itself does not react vigorously with cold water. Its oxide can be reduced with carbon, no. It is very high in reactivity, so it is separated through electrolysis. It does not react with dilute acids. This is a property of weak metals, of metals which have a low reactivity. So it is not true. Which row describes the color changes when water is added to anhydrous cobalt to chloride and anhydrous copper to sulfate? Again, remembering the fact white to blue, yes. Blue to pink, yes. Blue to white, wrong. Blue to pink, wrong. Blue to white, again wrong. It is white to blue and it does not have this as pink. So option A is correct. Next, the gases produced by burning fuel are passed through solution Z using the apparatus shown. Again, this you can find in your qualitative analysis notes. This also and this also. So the fuel contains compounds of sulfur. So this contains compounds of sulfur, so it will react with oxygen. So this will be sulfur dioxide over here. So the test for sulfur dioxide is not litmus. It is acidified potassium magnate, and the test is it goes from purple to colorless. So option A is correct. Which information about carbon dioxide and methane is correct? Found when vegetation decomposes. This is true for methane and incorrect for carbon dioxide. Greenhouse gas, both are greenhouse gases, so option B is correct. It is present in unpolluted air. Carbon dioxide is present in 0.04%, while methane is not present. So, produced during respiration, it is carbon dioxide, not methane. Which row identifies uses of sulfur? So, making ammonia? No, it does not have a use in making ammonia. Making sulfuric acid? Yes. And it is used for bleaching wood pulp too. This is also remembering the sulfuric acid chapter. It is not used as an NPK fertilizer. Next, which statement about lime are correct? So lime is calcium oxide. It is made by heating calcium carbonate. Yes, CaCO3 heated, which is limestone. So calcium oxide and carbon dioxide are produced. Lime is used to desulfurize flue gases. Yes, this is used to desulfurize this gas. Lime is used to treat alkaline soil low. It is itself alkaline, so how can it neutralize? The chemical name for lime is calcium oxide. This is what we have here. So 1, 2, and 4 are correct. So option B. Which structure is correctly named? So the correctly named means the functional group should be correct and the number of carbon atoms should be correct. So the functional group is present over here, but the number of carbon atoms are 3. We have eth, which means 2. Ethene should have a double bond, so no double bond present, so not correct. Because the functional group is not present, the number of carbon atoms are correct. Ethanol, OH group should be present, yes. Two carbon atoms should be there, yes. So correct answer. D, propane. So no double bond should be present because it is an alkane. Why is there a double bond over here? So wrong. Next, the fractional distillation of petroleum produces a series of fractions with different uses. Which row identifies a use for a fraction? So bitumen is row used for roads. So automatically A is incorrect and this is also incorrect because this is for bitumen. Gas oil is not used for cooking, it is used as a fuel. Naphtha is used for making chemicals. It is a feedstock for the chemical industry. Next, ethene and propene. Two carbon atoms, three carbon atoms, alkenes both. Of the same homologous series, which statement explained why ethene and propene have similar chemical properties. They're both hydrocarbons. This is factually correct. This is true, but this is not the reason why they have similar chemical properties, as alkanes are also hydrocarbons, but they do not have the same chemical properties as alkenes. So it is related to the functional group. So statement 3 is correct. Next, they're both made by cracking. This alkanes are also made by cracking, but they have different chemical properties to alkenes, so this is not the reason. So only three is correct. Hydrocarbons basically means containing only hydrogen and carbon. Next, which statement about ethane is correct? So it is alkane, it does not contain a double bond, and so it does not decolorize bromine water. This is for alkenes. It burns in excess oxygen to form water and carbon dioxide. True, this is true for all organic compounds, all homologous series we have. Its molecular formula is C2H4. This is the general formula for the alkenes. So this is following this, so not correct. Alkanes have CnH2n plus 1. Its atoms are joined by ionic bonding, definitely not correct. They are joined by covalent bonding. Which statement about ethanol are correct? It is used as a solvent. Yes. It, ethanol can be made directly from ethane. No, it can be made from ethene. Next, ethanol is a covalent compound. Yes. So 1 and 3. Polymers are long chain molecules made from small molecules linked together. Four polymers or types of polymer are listed: carbohydrates, nylon, proteins, terylene. Which polymers or types of polymer are synthetic? So even if you don't know this because this is no longer in your syllabus, so you can just see that proteins are natural and carbohydrates are also natural. So synthetic means artificially chemically made. So which leaves us with 2 and 4. So this is no longer in your syllabus, by the way. This and carbohydrates. Only nylon and proteins are there, and PET is added. And yeah, so this is it. We have completed the paper. Jazakallah khaira. Thank you.